Where can I find the minutes?
They're just always on the workforce group. Everything you ever need is on the workforce group and the ChangeTheFuture website. Not, well, 99% of the time when people ask me where things are, that's the answer I get.
Agenda minutes, cool.
Right, well, we're recorded then.
Hello and welcome to the ChangeTheFuture weekly strategy meeting. It is the 9th of March and it's 20 past 8. We're a bit late starting, just waiting to see if anyone else arrived online, and we might have people drop in. But for now, it's just Luke, Alex and myself. And yeah, we'll get started on the agenda.
Smashing. Yeah, this is the first meeting we don't have people online yet, I think. But we will stay on anyway. So first thing is appointing chair and minute taker.
I like being chair. I enjoyed it last time. I'm very happy to do it again.
Are you particularly drawn towards taking minutes out?
Not at all, no.
I shall take
intentionally
minutes.
staying silent.
I'll take minutes. Yes. Okay. That was easy.
So,
Easy.
first point on the agenda: to welcome any new faces and describe the project to first-timers. Weekly meetups agenda and hangout. It's suspiciously like last week's agenda.
That's just like the opening routine, isn't it?
Right.
And then there's a gap, and then the sort of.
Okay. So that's why it's exactly like last week's.
Yeah.
Okay. Will be. Yeah. Welcome any new faces. Very difficult to do. There are none.
Oh, that was quick.
Maybe we should just say
Who we are.
yeah, who everyone is.
Hello. I'm Jem, and I'm chairing this meeting. What do? By day, I suppose a number of different things, including teaching guitar and cooking and caring, do some care work. But within ChangeTheFuture, I just like getting things done. I like doing things and achieving quite clear goals and making things happen in real life. Not specifically good with technology. I understand it, I just don't like using it a great deal. So I like to talk to humans and use real life things and do projects that people can interact with in real life.
Sick.
That's me.
I am Luke Flegg. Anyone watching any other videos has probably seen loads of me. I was involved since the beginning of time, core team member, and that'll do, I think.
Okie dokie. I am Alex. Sometimes I write some software. That'll do me.
Good. That was pretty concise. Now, we'll describe the project to anyone who's watching this for the first time, and yeah, give a rough summary of what ChangeTheFuture is. I don't really feel like doing that just now.
You fancy describing the project in a line?
Well, actually, what I was thinking would make more sense, I was about to add as a last agenda point, was we probably shouldn't describe the project at the beginning of every meeting. If we have a video describing the project, then the meetings could jump right in. So like you run videos at the same of every video, it's the same blasted thing, you have to skip the first third of every video on YouTube to be able to get to the content. So maybe we should stay in line and just people skip the first third of every video.
I've replied to that,
Yeah.
but then we'll have to set an hour or what's that? I think, yeah, but it's good practice, I think, to practice. It's just, I think it's such an easy opportunity to miss otherwise. Like usually we have about maybe 7 of us, and it's nice just to, I think, kind of hear each other describe the project using our own words. And yeah, I think we keep it really, really short. It's just people who feel like it, but Like it'd take less time than just the conversation we've already had, I guess. And also, I think it's easy to. What we should really do, I think, what would be amazing to do, is as a routine, put buttons on the video along the bottom. You know, using YouTube annotations.
Oh, to skip to the.
Yeah, and then the agenda points are numbered.
That'd be
So
nice.
you have like 1 to 10, and you can literally press the
That would
numbers
be
and
great.
just skip. Take about 10 minutes,
Okay,
maybe 15 minutes.
I see. Well,
Interesting.
I'm not volunteering, but that sounds like a brilliant idea.
Yeah, that's you just described ChangeTheFuture, I think. Inadvertently.
We all give our own take on describing change.
Is that yours or mine we just had?
Is this a bad day? That's a bad day. One interesting day. There's definitely days where people have good ideas and right stuff. Definitely. Does happen.
For me, Change the Future is about collecting as many opinions on any given subject or any proposed subject from the public and trying to reach a unanimous resolution. In some sense, I use the word improving society cautiously because my view of improving society is not the same as anyone else's. But I feel like Change the Future aims to collect as many ideas for change as possible and find the one that is most common or most positive. That's my take on it.
That's yum. I describe it as researching how human beings might work better together and applying that research to create spaces both online and offline that really bring communities intimately together to better understand all kinds of issues that affect them and better harness their collective intelligence so that together we can cooperatively and democratically fashion a new future that better represents all of our needs.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Are we describing what we want Change the Future to be or what it currently is?
For me, they're kind of the same thing. I feel like the goal is the way that we move. For me, that's my sort of. I think it's okay for us to have like different sort of goals within our relationship to the project. I think to a certain extent, as long as they kind of work more together than they undermine each other.
Okay then. Well, I'd say what Change the Future currently is a loose coalition of rebels which doesn't currently have the funds to buy any TIE fighters yet. Although hopefully will do at some point.
I hope you're not joking.
I guess what I want it to be really, or at least the bit that would be important to me, although isn't necessarily totally aligned with the goals of CTF, would be a fully distributed friend-to-friend liquid democracy network, which the whole world partakes in. Along those lines.
Nice, Alex.
Hello,
Hello,
Joe.
Joe.
Stuff too.
By the way.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Sorry I'm late.
Don't worry about it. We were just trying to describe the project as we see it.
Oh, also I'm wearing a Chewbacca t-shirt, so the Star Wars
Nice.
analogy made
Yeah.
more sense.
We started about 20 past, so yeah, we're just
Oh,
about.
cool. Do I have one of these wicked cool banners?
Yeah, and I don't know, actually. Do you? Say stuff again?
Do you see the cool banner? Like right here?
No.
I want
Just
one
have
with
to-
mine.
With your name on, go to control room on the left-hand side next to all those fun tools.
Oh, sweet. I won't do it now. Carry on with the meeting. I'll do it if there's a quiet moment. But that's awesome. Cool.
So yeah, describing the project, what it is to us, or what we perceive it to be and will be maybe in the future, which is changing. If you want to describe it, then feel free. But just
Well, I feel like that's a dense way to dive into a meeting.
yeah.
I'm not going to do it very well right now. I feel like.
I think it's okay. I think it's good to have multiple views, like no matter how rehearsed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's I suppose Change the Future is a collaborative project to crowdsource how to find solutions and encourage a constructive discourse. It's quite concise.
That's good. Jeff.
And broad, but
yeah, but it's definitely it makes me go, yes, I think I would agree with that.
Good.
Really good. Okay, so next up we got weekly meetups. Just sort of describing those.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You don't have to do that. That's just sort of something.
Oh yeah.
Have we got another one now?
That's been floating for. That's definitely had its time, hasn't it, on the Facebook group? That should be in the agenda actually.
Okay.
In the agenda. I'll add it at the end.
All right. I'll do a quick run through. Oh, sorry. I looked at the agenda as a mistake.
Oh no, it is on there.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I'm blind. It is on there. The second agenda item. I propose we number these.
Not bad. Not
And
bad.
then we can do that thing we were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, we meet up on Mondays for a weekly strategy meeting, as the header so rightly states. It begins at 8 p.m. And we started a little late tonight just to welcome anyone in. The other meetings are Thursday. Is that right? Was there one on Wednesday and Thursday?
Yeah, all 8 p.m. Monday strategy, Wednesday social, Thursday working group.
And never comes the Wednesday group. I'm always teaching, but yeah, there is one on Wednesday at 8 p.m. which is a social, usually held. Is that one at Alcampo?
Yeah, they're all at Alcampo, apart from both at Alcampo, apart from the strategy meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Which is usually at Lucinders and sometimes here, top of London Road.
Cool. The agenda is simply a list of points for discussion. They're on a Google Doc, which should be easily accessible from ChangeTheFuture.com or ChangeTheFuture.co.uk or the Facebook group, Change the Future Workforce. Is that right?
Yeah, Change the Future Workforce. That'll find it.
Cool. So then you can add your points of discussion to the agenda, and this is the hangout really. If you're watching this, then you're watching our hangout space in chat and cover ground. The next point, moving swiftly on, is a bullet point that says opportunity to share anything interesting or creative. Well, open it up to the group. Is there anything interesting or creative that you wish to share?
No, I haven't been doing very well creatively recently.
There was a fun thing in the news a little while ago that was pretty fun. There was a train that a load of people were boarding somewhere in England, and then this chap somehow managed to tread in between the platform and the train, and there's CCTV footage which I highly recommend looking at, where he falls and slips and gets his whole leg all the way up to his crotch stuck in between that gap, and all the staff come rushing over and making sure the train doesn't pull away. And then very gradually over the next few minutes, loads of people are trying to help him to get out, but his legs like swelling under there or something, and eventually more and more people get off the train, and he's just surrounded by everyone, just thinking, how the hell do we get this guy out of this situation? Like, how do we fix this problem? He's just properly wedged in there, and he's must be middle-aged guy. It's hard to tell, but eventually, after loads of people fail to pull him out, somebody comes up with the idea that they're going to all stand on the platform and just push the train carriage to the side as hard as they can. And the first time it doesn't seem to do much, and then the second time they really pulse it, and they literally lift the train slightly off the tracks on one side, and it's enough of a gap for people to lift them out.
Holy shit.
Oh, good.
It sounds like a modern day parable of some kind, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Just firstly, that someone had such a ridiculous
The gap that
idea.
everyone's supposed to mind
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
got fully entered
Mm.
by an entire limb.
Hmm.
I think
And then a crowd actually organised themselves to fix it.
yeah,
That is
that's nice.
I'm fascinated by that moment of I've got this wacky idea, who's in, and then
Yeah.
everyone does it. I wanted to find the person in the footage.
That wacky. It's, hey guys, let's lift the train away from them.
Alex,
Really?
don't belittle this. This
I'm
is
not
an
belittling it.
extraordinary.
I'm not saying it's a bad
situation.
idea. I'm saying it's not really a wacky idea. It's kind of the sensible solution. Like if a car's stuck on something,
I think you're unusually
the normal
rational.
thing to do is to get a bunch of people to lift it off them.
I wouldn't be
It's
nearly
less
surprised if it
obvious
was
for the train because it's bigger and heavier. But you know, like in the strongman competitions, they pull trains along, and then immediately they're on low friction rollers, so it's more easier.
I'd be surprised if people didn't immediately think about it and do it if they were all as rational as you are. But knowing that most people aren't, I thought it was awesome and mind-boggling.
Mm.
But yeah.
Oh, here's something
Okay.
interesting. Spock has died. Leonard Nimoy, and probably at least partly, if not heavily, from smoking. It's not creative or good. There you go.
It's interesting.
As a reminder.
It's very sad. We could dedicate the meeting to him in some way.
Dedicated to Spock.
Yeah.
We miss you, Spock.
You're a
Live long
good.
and oh shit. Goodbye, not the long and prosper at last. Too late.
Quite long, probably.
But not anymore. Anyway,
So-
different subject.
No, I have an interesting thing. I was
Oh.
chatting to a friend who organises quite a lot of sort of Shangri-La aspects of Glastonbury,
Oh yeah.
and she said that this year their theme, or at least one of their themes, because they have so much going on, is political parties, and so they're going to encourage real-life political parties to represent at Glastonbury Festival.
In Shangri-La.
In Shangri-La.
Shangri-La.
Yeah.
And they're also going to encourage any festival goers, any sort of hardy festival goers who already sort of established themselves, to invent new political parties with agendas and propose the idea that they kind of try and gather people into their political parties, persuading them with whatever agenda that they put forward. So that was quite an interesting idea of involving politics in something maybe not usually associated with it, like Glastonbury Festival.
Well, Glastonbury I could see being associated, but Shangri-La isn't open till 10, does it? And Shangri-La like 10 o'clock till 5. It's like
It's kind of open. Well, I think they're the most organised aspect. I don't know, maybe the most creatively organised aspects of Glastonbury,
Yeah,
in the sense that they're there for such a long time beforehand, putting sort of final touches on building gigantic structures and stuff. But I think they probably have the most time on site to come up with something interesting and creative like that. So that was something interesting and creative that I came across recently.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I did wonder whether there was a space within that for Change the Future to represent, even if we just like held a stall trying to explain it to people. And gathering information, maybe a makeshift wall of ideas could be present at Glastonbury. Yeah, that was something that I thought about.
That's sweet. So I've never been to Shangri-La. I've been many times to Glastonbury, but never been.
Wow. Shangri-La is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie, to me, he's actually interested in, like, well, he's giving the feeling like the coolest part of Change the Future is the wall of ideas. That's that they most are interested in. But yeah, I think it's just a very easy to see and interact with immediately thing.
Yeah, it's been one of the most effective for actually gathering information from human beings. So.
Testing an interface of it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next point says matters arising. Are there any matters arising?
Kind of added a couple onto the agenda, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna. Yeah, here's one. I was gonna sort of just maybe add on to our mini conversation before an action point about maybe the minute taker. The role of the minute taker should include not only uploading the minutes, obviously, if they're not typing them straight in, but also to chapter the video, so they can kind of go. You know, there's like 9 things in the minutes, and they're numbered. And on the YouTube video is like annotation buttons that you can click, and it will skip you straight to that part of the video where we talked about that point. Because actually, it'd be freaking easy to do, because I could just be noting down the times now.
Yes.
Where's the time for this video? Does it exist anywhere?
Nope.
I guess I'll just.
I
should have.
use a separate timer.
Yeah, I should just use my phone. That's what I should have done.
Hmm.
Well, I can do that now and then adjust all the times. Anyway, done. We past that.
Cool.
Proposal. I suppose the only concern you could have with that is that people might be more reluctant to be a minute taker.
Yeah, it does seem like it might take a long time for what is. I mean, these things are usually viewed by like less people after than they are during most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe here's a compromise. What about the minute taker just at least notes the time that we move on?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So the next bit says review last meeting's minutes and actions. So whenever we achieved or talked about last meeting.
Have you got them, Joe or Alex?
Every time I open Google Docs, it seems to you seem to go robotic, so I put it on my phone.
Oh, say that again.
He's going to look on his phone.
Yeah, I've got this week's on my phone, but every time I open up the computer, it goes a bit funny. So you might have to recap for me.
Is it?
I was saying you couldn't hear him saying robotic because it was too robotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe worth. Yeah, like for people, I think this is a useful thing to bring up, just like an opportunity while we're all together again, just to skim over, like just briefly, the sort of bullet points of what we discussed last time. Well, really the minutes from last time, and just go, oh yeah, that thing. Where's that at now? Yes, I did this and you did that, and I don't know, just kind of catch up on developments. It's just like a little job.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I was wondering, could you do it for me? Because I can't get it on my computer.
So, what was it? The 3rd, wasn't it?
I'm also looking it up over here.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, then I can read out
Yeah, go on.
points from last time if we want.
That'd be great.
Blah, blah. Leah F. How can we get everyone to add their contacts, details, links to their Facebook, email, phone number? They can be privatised if needed, wanted.
No, I think that's the week before. 3rd March.
Yeah, this is 3rd March.
Yeah, because she couldn't make it on that day. So.
Oh, okay, so she added some.
Yeah.
But
we didn't really. We didn't actually really finish that. I don't think.
I felt like someone put themselves forward to.
What's in the minutes? What's the minutes for that?
Same question again. Get in touch with Leah and Rob to invite them to find a way to do this.
Oh, that was my action point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the confidential section of CTF
So
and a public Google Doc.
how'd it go?
Yeah, I haven't done it.
Review next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally fair enough.
I guess the next one, quite sure what's going on in that, but I'll read it from here. How can we get people to tag themselves in committees on Trello that they're interested in working in and get them represented on a card in Trello, our workforce?
So how can people tag themselves on Trello, basically making Trello more popular and used?
Yeah.
I don't see this mentioned in the minutes.
We could make it so that everyone who gets enrolled into Trello as part of that process, which you've already got outlined, haven't you, Luke? In one of the cards, we've got like the onboarding process. We could make it a step of that to put everyone who joins on a committee. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I think having a more sort of having a really structured onboarding process, which maybe, you know, maybe we have like a sort of program that's laid out that's maybe like 2 or 3 hours long, for example, before somebody is formally considered a supporter of the project.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of like a standard that is really recognised, that everyone who's a supporter, we know that they've kind of gone through that process, so they should know what the project is and sort of where things are. And then, I don't know, yeah, it's just a bit more sort of structure then.
On a slightly meta note, it'd be really cool if the minutes were in some way connected to the points, because the agenda's got numbered points, and the minutes is bullet points, which seems like it's probably in the same order, but it could be 1 bullet point for a numbered point, or it could be 5. Makes it pretty hard to relate. I guess we could copy the agenda to the minutes if we're doing it online, then put the points of the minutes underneath the agenda point. Would be an easy way of doing it.
Yeah.
Whenever I've taken minutes, it's been by hand, just because it's quite nice not to have 2 laptops open, 2 screens, but it's totally possible. Or just to write down agenda point 1, and you write down the minutes. And then
Number it down. It's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else to kind of review from last minutes and actions? Last week's?
Well, the reason I mentioned is I didn't see any action points for how can we get people to tag themselves in a committee on Trello. So I'm not sure what the result was or who was supposed to do something about that.
Oh, my memory's clunking away now. I remember talking about maybe introducing the idea, which I think, Luke, you've done quite concise, well, maybe not concise, quite in-depth, in fact, video about Trello and how to use it.
Yeah, I've done that.
And does that involve committees, things like that on Trello?
Yeah, it mentions committees. Yeah, it's been on there for a few, about 4 days or 5 days.
Inadvertently, whether you meant to do that because of this point or not, that's probably the best way to encourage people onto there. Sort of a video explaining Trello to anyone who doesn't understand it.
Put an agenda point on today's meeting about having a 4th weekly event, which is an induction to ChangeTheFuture. Like, what is it and how do I get involved day that's like recurring, so we can have like potentially a constant stream of new people or people sort of reminding themselves how to get involved and what it is again.
Could that be a sort of, I want to say need to know basis, one that doesn't necessarily have to happen every week, because for that 4, then your week's pretty saturated with meetings.
Mine.
Anyone's, but if you're...
But you and Alex wouldn't go to it, or like only people who want it would go to it, and they might not go to any of the other 3.
That's what I mean, is that like if no one's going to it, there's little point in holding it. So if someone gets in touch with you, then that is the day or the meeting to go to.
My experience makes me feel that people might not have the whatever it is that makes them get in touch and ask for it.
Okay, yeah.
But if it's offered, then they'll take it. Just like someone might not say, I would like a beautiful, healthy dinner. but if it's put in front of them earlier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. Sounds good.
I mean, it could be sort of, there could be an invitation attached that it could sort of move easily, but by default it'll be on a Tuesday.
This is after feedback about the strategy meeting maybe being a bit too unapproachable for newcomers. And I suppose these initial buffers describing the project and the weekly meetups and the agenda and going through last week's minutes, they do that for now, but maybe there should be a meeting solely for newcomers.
I'm going to put this down in minutes as we're basically talking about that agenda point now, because it feels like we kind of are.
Yeah. I think now.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we still talking about that agenda point?
It's up to you, really.
Well,
do you want to stop? I don't know why you asked that question.
We've come to a natural pause, and I was asking if you guys have anything more to say on it, or I'll read out the next point.
Well, Gems. Oh, I see from there. Yeah, so you're happy for that job. Yeah, well, should we return to that so Alex can finish this?
I don't mind if you want to keep on talking about the thing you're talking about.
I think you're fine.
Thank you, Sophie. Well, then, the next thing from last week, which I'm also quite interested in, is what is the clear shared mission and vision of Change the Future? For which...
Oh yeah, okay, so here we go. I think this is it. Luke and Charlie give history of CTF. No, that's not it.
No, that's something else by the sounds of it. We talk about the name. I don't see anything in the minutes about this either.
Change the future.
I mean, I get the impression Charlie was probably asking that because most people have a different impression of what it is to at least a small degree.
Yeah, I think
some
that's
people much larger.
Apparent.
I guess there probably is a core subset of making democracy more practical and widespread. But I don't know. Definitely the most important bit to me.
I saw having the most important bit of Change the Future is everyone sharing a common vision. Is that what you said?
No. I mean, that's the point from last week. Was Charlie asking what is the clear shared mission and vision of Change the Future? And I think it's a very difficult question because we don't have a clear shared vision of Change the Future. I mean, maybe we do more than I realise, but to me, by far the most important bit is making really good digital democracy. And I think to most other people I've talked to, it's something else.
I think I would say that a lot of that is, not all of it, but a lot of that is to do with us just using different language, you know, like, and having sort of different angles on it. Like even in our school, for example, some people might focus on the democratic school meeting as being like a kind of really important core of our democratic school. But then other people might focus more on the student-teacher relationships, and other people just on the creative, free time and space that really probably we all
comes from the democratic meeting mostly, because the students are made equal to the teachers because they've got one vote each.
That's right.
The freedom of the school comes from the meeting as well because they can vote on it. And I definitely say the core part of SANS, at least, is the completely democratic school meeting.
But I think other people
our country doesn't have that, which is my main interest in making something similar happen, like a democratic meeting for the whole country. I think everything else will come from that, which is why that's the most important bit to me.
But I feel like that is your...
Indeed, that's my vision, not the clear shared vision.
So, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the clear shared vision is we don't know what the...
Why doesn't there minutes on it?
Exactly. We haven't come to an agreement, quite evidently, and it's difficult to come up with one shared mission or sort of point. that we can focus on to change the future? So it's a good question to ask, but not one that is easily answered, if at all possible to answer, because everyone will bring their own thing to change the future. And to come to an agreement would involve
having a global democracy so they can all discuss it.
But even then, there would be compromise, wouldn't there? So, like,
well, yeah.
there would have to be, quite a huge discussion. One that was gigantic, I suppose. Yeah, the clear shared mission of Change the Future to me is to bring many people together into meetings, into an online web platform, who's in charge of their own situation, their own lives.
Wow.
But of course, that's my take on it. So, yeah, it's just,
well, I mean, my thing is, though, with a meeting like this, where everyone is equal, like here or the Houses of Parliament, the more people you have, the harder it gets to work. Because if you have, say, 10,000 people in a meeting, and everyone wants to speak for 5 minutes, it's going to be a very long meeting.
Yes.
Which isn't so practical.
And if one person talks for the majority of the meeting, then their points will be heard.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a clearer way to do it. So yeah, I suppose
like liquid democracy.
Absolutely, like liquid democracy. But to go back to the point about the clear shared, what was it? Clear shared mission.
Clear
Change
shared
the future.
Clear shared vision to change the future.
Charlie, demonstration.
Oh, yeah.
Clear shared mission and vision
there we go.
of change the future. Currently, to find the clear shared mission and change the future.
I think should be distributed digital democracy.
You've said that.
Yes, I know. I've been learning from American TV recently, which I often hate. I realise they do repeat all their points 10 times, then no one forgets them. They remember. They remember that the vision should be distributed digital democracy.
Did you just try and compare this meeting to American television? Yeah, okay. Right. Thanks, Alex.
Comparing my actions of American television.
I don't condone that type of behaviour, but
No,
I think that it is clear and effective. Nice.
So the next thing is from a guy called TK. How can we make... Oh, Theodore, okay. How can we make the honest vision of Change the Future more appealing to young people? I've approached a few people about the project, and naturally, as soon as they hear the word democracy or politics, they are apathetic. Well, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I think we'll probably make it more exciting by calling it distributed liquid democracy.
But you lose people. Before I did anything involved with you guys, I didn't understand what democracy means. So, distributed liquid democracy? What are the words? Okay.
Those are the words, indeed.
So, yeah, would you like to summarize distributed liquid democracy?
Yes, very quickly. The important part of having liquid democracy, at least for me, is to have multiple representatives per person on different topics, and you can have subtopics getting more and more detail for which representatives can have representatives for all of their representees, which you can find much more detail if you search for liquid democracy. And as for being distributed, that primarily means not having it all on one website, which anyone with good hacking skills or an army could very quickly and easily corrupt and change what the votes are.
Okay, that makes it safe.
It makes it hopefully safe and effective.
Unriggable.
And also scalable.
Okay.
Also, being distributed and not having a central server means the more people using it doesn't incur massive costs to a single person running the server, and it doesn't have to be full profit because everyone involved runs the network. Hooray!
And the democracy, the liquid democracy aspect, allows, correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I don't think I fully understand it, but it allows people to change their vote?
Potentially, yes.
As they see fit, or as they choose. until the decision or until a motion is passed. And also, they can give their vote to someone else, or is
yes. So, for example, you could well be my music representative, and I your computing representative.
Perfect.
And then for anything to do with music, you would have 2 votes, mine and yours.
And I would represent you. I'd say I'm voting on behalf of myself and Alex.
Yes, but you also know Ren, who is also an amazing musician.
So I could give mine and your vote.
You could potentially give Ren your digital music vote and my music vote. Then he's got 3 votes in digital music, and he could give you his guitar music vote, for example. So you'd have 3 votes there, or 2 votes if he's not worked on anyone else.
Right, I see. Yeah, okay.
And that way you form an ad hoc hierarchy.
Yeah.
You do get people in positions of power, but only in very specific domains of knowledge.
Right.
And if they abuse their power or people don't agree with their decisions, they can change their representative anytime.
And revoke their...
And revoke their vote, potentially.
Interesting.
Or if I don't like one decision you've made on my behalf, for example, I could change that one and still let you be my representative.
Cool. And the distributed part is simply about keeping it safe from...
Yes, that's the technical part, which is mostly about keeping it safe from corruption.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also about not incurring massive server costs or having a central point of failure.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alex. So that's distributed liquid democracy. How do we get onto that topic?
Well, I dragged us back onto it.
Yeah.
No, we've gone past that. No, that was the one more appealing to young people. Well, the reason that I'm apathetic about democracy and politics is because we've got the Houses of Parliament, which the representatives in there, nobody wants anything pretty much, and they make terrible decisions. So of course we're apathetic about it.
But I think the beauty of our aim is to make it non-complex.
Yes.
So how to make democracy politics and words like that make people potentially apathetic.
Mm-hmm.
How to engage them
Did we have anything
or inspire them
next week?
I believe is one of our aims.
Yeah, I think it's funny on the admittedly quite rare occasion when somebody suggested the vision for the web platform of Change the Future being quite overwhelming and complex and extravagant and ambitious. Like, I mean, when you respond to someone with, "But do you have any idea at all about how the actual intricate mechanisms of today's democratic process actually work day to day and make decisions on your behalf?" Pretty much nobody has a clue.
Something you didn't want them to.
It's very complicated when you learn about like the actual nuts and bolts of it. Well, it's like Change the Future. I feel like you could actually, you know, in kind of one decent sitting, get your head around most of how representation goes from there to there, and you know, just like if you really sat with Wikipedia and looked at how an article gets written and moderated and sort of peer reviewed and issues flagged and you know things labelled and marked and organised. Like it's not impossible. You have to be quite techie and sort of interested in how it works.
But you could draw it. I mean, I feel like a lot of it could be drawn with people and arrows potentially. You know, like sort of in terms of passing on votes. Those kind of things. It doesn't have to be digital because our democracy currently, or what you want to call it, I feel like it predates technology and those kind of things. It must be sort of have a stance. In no way could I describe it to anyone. I've never felt capable or confident of describing
the web platform.
No, the way our country.
Still going from House of Lords, House of Commons, and back again, and early day motions, and like laws about e-petitions having to have 100,000 signatures just to be discussed, and then how like there's so many different roles and obviously it's insanely complicated.
So let's not go into that now, but I think that
does nicely lead on to the next point, though.
I think that just summarizes quite briefly. That maybe explains why people are apathetic when they hear democracy or politics mentioned, because they don't understand it. It's easier not to feel engaged or involved if you don't understand something. And I believe that part of ChangeTheFuture's aim is to make it simpler and engaging for people to get involved.
And the next point was TK asking Luke or Charlie for a brief summary of the history of CTF in years and notable events from the beginning up to now, so he can make a beefy description of ChangeTheFuture for the Cheshire branch.
I quickly suggest we don't necessarily need to, when we do this sort of routine, don't necessarily maybe need to read every word out, just kind of like skim through and pick up any particularly action points was what I was imagining, I think.
Well, but the action points kind of seem a bit confusing, missing, or hard to relate to what was happening. I mean, I'd imagine there should have been an action point for this, but I don't see something relating to that. Maybe it's just
like me and Charlie giving a review, a historical summary of ChangeTheFuture. We just did that then and there.
Oh, right, I see.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
No, were you not in that meeting?
Last week, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we just spoke it for like
I think I was there the week before that.
Okay, cool. So that was done. If you want that, you can watch last week's.
Okie dokie. The other 2 points were pool levy and donations to volunteers, but I'll skip to the action points perhaps, which is seemingly unrelated. Luke, add prices to tasks on Trello.
Yes, I have just started doing that. I will do at least a handful more tonight, but when I started doing it, I realised a need to kind of, equally importantly, create a sort of way of inducting people when there's an agenda item for that in this meeting. So yeah.
Okie dokie. Another action point which I'd missed, because I was looking at the agenda rather than the points, was Theo to create a picture of the CTF working group asking what does ChangeTheFuture mean to you, but he's not here, so we don't have a result on that.
Yeah, he's filming.
And Luke to get in touch with Leo and Rob to invite them to find a way to do this, possibly through this being get people to add their stuff, their contact details. And we've got the action point of you asking Leo and Rob to do it with confidential document section on the CTF and a public Google Doc.
Yeah, Rob can't.
Okay.
Cool.
Done?
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Alex.
Oh, wait, you've done that? Or you're saying...
No, that was the thing I was saying earlier. I haven't done that.
Oh, right. Well, then, in that case, we're done with the last week's stuff.
Huzzah!
Sorry,
back into the present.
It longer than it has needed to be.
I think it was pretty good. I quite like keeping these meetings concise, because otherwise we've just got reams of 2-hour-long videos that are very unapproachable, in my opinion. And rarely want to watch a video that's more than 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
Well, if it's got dragons and wizards, I'm pretty happy to.
I'm afraid our videos will almost never have dragons or wizards in them.
Well, there's a mistake, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so the first point that's actively been placed on the agenda is sort of reviewing last week's or introducing ChangeTheFuture or something. That was added by Luke Hillary Flegg.
That's me.
Yep. And it says people remembering ChangeTheFuture dates. Remind them about calendar.
Yeah, an idea came up before to just, I've set up a group on my phone for texting people. Did you get that, Joe? Did you get a text from me?
Yes, I did, yes. I was yeah. I'm consistently 15 minutes late to these things at the moment.
No, that was just a genuine question, not a sort of way of saying, why are you late?
No.
That should be an easy way now, just to fire that out earlier than I have been doing, as you were suggesting. Yeah, I think like maybe an hour before meetings rather than I did 20 minutes before, 15, 20 minutes before. So yeah, but I don't know. It kind of I don't want to. I guess I don't really want to feel like if I'm busy or unavailable or something, then there's no chance that a meeting's going to happen. Like I feel like it's a bit silly if I'm not around that a meeting won't happen. Because otherwise it feels like people are here sort of for me or because of me or something. So yeah, I want to help, but I don't want to sort of do it for people.
If I'm being honest, I don't think. I suppose I can only speak on my own behalf, but I don't think anyone cares about Change the Future as much as you do, which is why you are so actively involved in it and have been from the start. So yeah, I think it's up to them, up to myself and others who wish to be involved with Change the Future to care more or make it more of a priority in their lives. And it's that whole thing of like voting with your feet or voting with your presence or your face, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's something that I've noticed. There's enthusiasm towards the idea, but it needs to be met with people's involvement.
I think there's two things. There's the quality of the invitation. Like you can say, I invite you to fix Brighton. And it's like, thanks, cheers. And then you can say, I invite you to, fix your bicycle. And someone's like, I don't really know how. I can't really be bothered. But if you say, I invite you to fix your bicycle, here's like 4 really clear photographs and a pump, and I'm here to ask questions or something like that. So yeah, I think you can open your door really wide and have a warm, glowing, inviting house inside with yummy smells, but somebody's still got to, at the end of the day, walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you can reduce the metaphor. Yeah, I think I just want to know that I've created as best an invitation as I can, but I'm not going to sort of pick people up and carry them over the threshold of the door.
Could you set up a semi-automated system so if not around, someone can just click a button or two to get the same system up and running on any computer? I don't know much about Google Hangouts.
Thing.
I mean, to get a Hangout going which invites people to it, or I'm not sure what the current system is for setting up a meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Is that a proposal to create a sort of
no, I'm just asking if you are capable of doing that.
I'm capable of many things, Alex.
Yeah,
I think it'd be easy to do. I guess I've hosted pretty much all of these on my channel, because I think you've offered before, Joe, to Google Hangout, but then like actually it's more to be together in a group, like one sort of. I think they probably should be hosted by Change the Future, and all the existing ones we've got so far, we can just stick in a playlist. So even if it says this is uploaded to Luke Flake's YouTube account, it can still be in the Change the Future playlist.
Yeah.
Like either video meetings or whatever. But from now on, we should do it logged in as Change the Future probably.
Well, yeah, so I guess the first step then is to have a Change the Future account which several people have access to, so we actually have a way of doing it in a consistent manner which doesn't require you.
We pretty much got that, I think. So maybe just checking up on how we do things in Change the Future on Trello, I guess, would be the best place to put that. I think there may already be something in there about hosting strategy meetings and including the Google Hangouts in that. So I could take that as an action point and just finish that job and post about it on the workforce.
Okay. Might it be practical to make a very short video showing people what buttons to click? Or would a video be a bit more than we need for this?
Something like that, at least with pictures or something like. Yeah, and I think a video is good. I can
I don't like videos, but I know people do, so that's what I say.
What do you think is the best for most people?
The best for most people, probably videos. I much prefer text and images in an orderly manner where I can do Control F and search through the page to find the right bit of text and look at the surrounding images.
I think, to be honest, it involves so many URLs that it could just be like a 5-point thing of just like, this is, click here, you download Hangout, click here, you start a new Hangout, Those are like fixed URLs. That's 2 steps of it right there. Sorry? You've gone again.
Alright, I think I get the gist. Joe?
Yeah, I caught Joe. Heard that bit.
Okay, nice. Hey. Were you just saying it's simpler to put it in a video or not?
No, I was saying that it's probably simpler just to do it because it like literally is just click this to download Hangout, click this to open a new Hangout, and that's pretty much it. So that's it, done. Beyond that, it's like
things that are actually quite complicated, and it sounds like this isn't, but maybe it is.
yeah, I don't know. The thing about.
I'll do something. It'll be on that Trello board anyway. Everyone knows where that board is in the Change the Future organisation. So in the Change the Future organisation page on Trello, there's like 9 boards. One of them is how we do things, and it says all the different ways that we do certain things, such as set people up with Change the Future emails, and host strategy meetings and hangouts, and it's like an instruction manual for how to do everything in Change the Future that we do more than once.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, is that this is leading on from the first point, which is people remembering CTF dates.
Also, just I wanted to remind everyone about the Change the Future calendar, which is just on the Change the Future website. It links to everything useful.
Yeah.
Just always on the website.
It was amazing to discover that is a thing for me, and it just helps me remember. It also, it's just a website dedicated to a calendar, is that right?
Well, it's a Google Calendar that
Right.
you can just, with one click, embed into your own existing Google Calendar if you use it, and then it's on your phone and everywhere effortlessly. And if you're given read-write access, you can also change things or add interesting events that people might be interested in, from web conferences to any event. But yeah, it can be viewed as a web page without logging in, and you can click events to see details.
Yeah, good. Okay, that's good. I think any action points in on that? I don't think so, but maybe one about the description for how to host a hangout, was it, or how to
Yeah, done that.
create a hangout? Okay, cool. So the next point says paying people and Trello induction, and also the point you mentioned earlier about Tuesdays being Change the Future welcome and induction. But I think, most importantly, about the Trello induction tasks and paying people.
Yeah, so a few days ago, people may have seen I put a video on. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I spent a good few hours making it. I did a screen capture on my phone and on my computer, kind of showing 2 people doing the whole process on Trello of identifying a problem but not having any solutions yet, and just discussing that, such as, I think the example I used was people not knowing how to use Trello, ironically. And then a proposal comes out of it and you see it go on the journey, like jumping from list to list all the way to I'm doing it now, I've done it. And it includes showing how I propose in detail we assign a monetary value to tasks. So obviously if people are going to earn money working on Change the Future, it needs to be done in a sort of fair and organised as possible way. So I think, has anyone here seen that video?
Yes, I thought it had a 30-second bit at the end where you said, oh, I forgot to mention money. The way it works for now is I assign money to a task. And that was the only bit about money.
Did you feel like it did the job of explaining how the money thing works?
Well, for now, you just assign money to a task, and that was it. Maybe I missed a bit, but I'm pretty sure that was the end of the video.
Yeah, so it's just
There wasn't any depth to it.
The monetary value is put by me on the title of every card, so you can see at a glance what the value of them all is. And then there's like a fake member for when it's been recognised that somebody's done a task, and that's been seen and registered and sort of recorded that Alex Bibby has earned £30, and so that kind of like tallies up. So just like you can tag yourself or somebody else to a card, you can also tag this kind of fake member, which is explained in the video, but it's called, their sort of name is credited, and it just means I noticed that you've done that task and that it's 25 quid's worth.
It does ring a bell, but I think I stopped paying attention for the little bit of some vital part of the explanation. I won't be mentioning about tags and tallying up, and then perhaps every month or every week or something the money gets paid out, but I didn't quite catch it being a fake member called credited. But that does make some sense.
Because otherwise it might just, I just thought, yeah, there needs to be a way of kind of showing I've seen that you've done that work and that you've earned this money. Yeah, so I guess the what I'm inviting people to do is, yeah, check that video out if you haven't seen it already, and yeah, two things, I guess. Give feedback on whether you think it's a viable way of moving forward now with the paying people to work on Change the Future, because we do need a way of doing it. We can't just, like, it's an idea that we agreed on doing, but we have to work out how we do it now. And if anyone else has got any sort of better ideas, then I'm so open to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is the only way we can do it, but I've just tried to, as much detail as possible, but also as efficiently as possible, I've tried to like visualize how exactly I imagine it could work. And yeah, it involves having an induction that's probably like half an hour. And like, I mean, you could just watch that video and then just check in with someone. Do you understand everything? Are you happy to use it? Do you want to just use Trello a little bit now with me while I'm here? Cool, it looks like you get it, done, bang. Now you're set up for life to create proposals and tasks and do them and get paid for them. And it's a transferable skill, I think, for all kinds of projects. And you know, you only have to do it once, and it is a new skill, and it is a bit computery based and potentially a bit boring for some people. But I think it's a realistic compromise that has to be made if you want to not just be told what to do or tell other people what to do, but you know, create a mechanism for doing things, you know, potentially any number of people in a really fair, democratic, cooperative way.
Yeah, good. I think I need to watch the video. I got so close to doing it, and I opened it, and I felt like my internet was just being horribly slow at the time. So I waited for it to load, and inevitably got distracted by just doing something else. So yeah, I will watch it in time, but I can't comment on it until then. I mean, just kind of just checking in, like I so don't want people to feel like, oh my god, that video is quarter of an hour long almost, and it looks a bit boring and techy and just snore generally about Trello. Like, I mean, is this the way we want to kind of go? Do we want to do this instead of kind of have one or two or three people just sort of telling people what to do? Is there a better alternative? Is there like, or is there like a more fun way we can? There's got to be a more fun way, because I don't think people like being told what to do.
No.
But they've got to warm to that idea themselves. Like, I, for one, love being told what to do when I'm ready for it. Like, I don't like things being forced upon me, but I'm very adept at completing tasks that are clear, like where the outlines are clear. I was very good at exams in school because I was like, there's a question and there's an answer. And I was terrible at coursework where you had to like take something on and think of something yourself to write about. I just didn't do it. And then
I feel like everyone's got a sort of a point which they are comfortable with, like a point. So kind of, you're amazing at cooking. You've got a lot of experience as a chef, and so you might like your boss might come up to you in a restaurant and say, cook some hollandaise sauce.
Yeah.
And you can be like, wicked, I know how to do that. It's going to take time and attention, and one sauce is never going to be identical to another, but I'm comfortable doing it. I understand the task. I'll get it done, even know how long it will take.
Yeah.
But then if they say, we've got someone posh and French coming or something, can you make them something that they're going to feel like at home with? Or then it's like less specific a task. And then maybe one day it might just be, can you find out who's coming today and cook them appropriate food in the kitchen? And here's 3 people who obey, you can delegate things to.
Yeah.
As well. And then you can even move up more on that and say, here's like a building that, and like not even say it's going to be a restaurant. And it's like, some people would be happy with that, and they might not make a restaurant, they might make a different place.
Yeah. But I feel like I've been trained in the art of accept instructions and improvise, of course, but complete quite specific goals. And my least favorite thing is doing something and then feeling like it is useless, I suppose, or like underused. Whereas I'd rather do something I don't want to do that is going to be used than something I do want to do but is kind of pointless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'd quite like to have really is a list of tasks which people can vote on to how important they think they are. Then we can see what tasks are really important and look at those to see which ones are interested in doing and do the ones that both we feel people would value and that we'd like to do.
I think that already exists on Trello, doesn't it?
Well, not currently. We don't have the voting aspect, so I have no idea.
We do have the voting aspects because we talked about this, and you can click on a card and it says strongly agree, abstain, against, strongly against inside, and you click on name in it. And cards on Trello. That's what I thought I said to you as our voting system, as like a crude sort of hack for the voting. When you were talking about clicking the vote button, and I was saying this is a better way of doing it. So if you look at the start here, task template, go onto the Trello Driving ChangeTheFuture board, and then you'll see it says right in the middle at the top.
We do this after the meeting or now?
I'll just, because it will take you less than 10 seconds if you just click it now. Driving ChangeTheFuture board, and just see where it says start here in the middle. So if you click that,
Start here.
Yeah.
I mean, we should look at a task and see how many votes it's got. So how do I cast my vote on this?
Wait, did you click on the right thing?
No, I just clicked on any card because I want to see how important.
No, click where it says start here. Start here.
Oh, right. Picture, I was looking for text.
So it would have this thing. So that John Smith is voting abstain. So you just add your name in there. Which is, it takes longer to write your name than to click a button, but
also,
obviously Trello's not optimized.
There's no way to sort it. I have to look through every card to see which one's got people for, strongly for, compared against, the against, strongly against. And this doesn't currently give me a way to see which task people care about, unless I literally look through all and then remember which ones are which. I just want to have a button sort by most popular, sort by top, sort by hot, things along those lines.
Then
Trello,
that's Trello.
Even using the voting, Trello doesn't let us do this. You can see how many votes it's got just by scrolling down, which is a good step forwards. Because you can not look through, I can see, all right, then 1 vote, 2 votes, whoa, 100 votes, oh, I want to do that.
You can get an add-on for your web browser that will change how it looks just to you, so you can sort cards based on even things like you can actually add points. It'll add features, but only people with the Google Chrome extension or the Firefox extension will be able to actually use that feature and view that feature. But yeah, it allows you to do things like put literally voting values onto cards and things, but I don't think we can expect everyone to download that and use that. You can't use it on mobile apps. And
I also have a lovely extension called Table Sorter, where any HTML table
lingering
by anything.
Stop.
which is amazing, but no one else uses it.
I'm moving on to the next point that says.
What should I just minute for that though? That we, I mean, should we just make it a separate group for how to improve? Should we get together? Anyone who's interested. I'm just trying to turn this into an invitation rather than imposing this topic of conversation on everyone. How about I and you, if you're interested, get together some other time to, and we'll write it on the workforce group when we're doing this, and make it accessible maybe online, ideally. And yeah, just explore how we can make Trello even better than it is already hacked, so that it's
ultimately. I don't think Trello can do this. What we really want is a decent Change the Future web platform, which has stuff like this built in to do the actual features we want.
That is clearly what we need.
I know I've said this many times throughout this meeting, but that's the bit I'm most interested in, and it does feel like it is the answers to an awful lot of our questions.
I would love us to have that now. Yes. Even a crude version of it. Well,
we actually do have a crude version, the previous prototype, which does indeed let us do things like create tasks, vote on them, and sort them in various different ways.
How do we use it?
I need to fix it, because at some point in the past year in which no one's heard about it or known about it and thus investigated it, and it hasn't been being used by anyone, it's gone out of functionality. As
I mentioned it
on my server.
I tried to take every opportunity pretty much. Lots of opportunities to mention it to people, and it's also in the useful resources board, which learn about Change the Future. It's listed in there and stuff.
Board people don't tend to see or look through. Everyone I've talked to has said they haven't heard there's ever been a prototype. Like Molly, who you've been living with for a year. Never heard of it. Jem, who you've known for ages, not really heard of it.
Oh, I'd heard of it. I just didn't know that it was usable.
Well, it was usable. It's not currently. I definitely could fix it.
I feel like, personally, I would prefer to use Trello compared to the prototype in its current form. It's got some unique, really useful stuff, the prototype as it is now.
I agree in many ways.
I think overall, probably prefer to use this, factoring in other people's needs as well, I think. So,
there's so much information already on Trello that is worthwhile to re-enter it.
I'm not suggesting abandoning Trello.
But ideally, we would use Change the Future for this. I think it's got sort of, if we can design it, or if you can design it yourself to the needs specific to what it requires, then that would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Well, I guess I'd be willing to volunteer myself for an action point of fixing the old prototype, which I don't think we should seriously use, but I think would be a good point of reference to look at it and go, we don't need these features, and these things would be really vital for it to actually be useful for us, more as a point of comparison than an actual functional thing.
Cool.
We could also use it for some minor things, like a few points which we can then sort by voting easily and effectively.
I feel I would offer that the most powerful invitation is one where you just go, I'm going to do this thing at this time, or when would you, I'm going to do this thing, what time would you like it to be? And then people can jump on board your bandwagon. Just create a bandwagon, I think, and then people, I imagine, if they're ever going to get involved in any way with that, it will be through surely an invitation like that, where you say, oh, Change the Future Workforce, Daniel Harris, Luke Lowe, Charlie, Jem, anyone who's interested. I'm going to be in this time and place, plus online. Let's talk about...
Right, I'm going to try and fix the old prototype this evening. If you guys are up for helping spread the word a bit, if I get it fixed this evening, inviting people to have a look at it and say what they hate about it, that would be great.
I'd be so interested to see it.
Tonight?
Well, I'm going to try and fix it tonight. I'm not saying necessarily...
Yeah.
Okay, but so when do you want to involve other people, or you want to think
probably announce when it's ready.
Yeah, hopefully before the next meeting, asking people to have a look at it and then say what they think in the next meeting. Maybe ask in the next meeting people in the meeting to have a look at it then for the meeting after that. But hopefully I'll try and get it up and running tonight, at least so I can show it to you and what state it is and what it was in.
I'd like that. Cool.
So what's the action point?
I think Alex is going to look at the existing Change the Future.
Yeah, we'll get
website.
old prototype back online.
Yep.
And see
Invite
what needs
people
updating.
Yes, invite people to complain about it is what I'd like to do, really.
That's when it's usable, isn't it? So for now, I think it's just sort of getting it usable, and then when it is usable, you'll announce it.
2 action points.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that accurate? 2 action points there?
The 2 action points being get it working, then
invite people to somehow come together to complain about it, or sort of help design it somewhere. Whether that discussion's on Facebook or whatever, that will be up to you.
Yeah, the first action point I'm completely up for doing alone in factions.
Yeah,
I'll get people to help. The
Yeah.
second action point feels a bit fuzzier to me, and getting other people involved and making that action point happen would be fantastic.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, just announcing that you want people to use it and abuse it.
Cool.
Also, in particular, I'd like you to invite people to have a look at it, because I think your invitations carry quite a lot of weight for the Change the Future group.
Yeah, I would be most happy, I think, if you put a post out or whatever, like whatever format you want to do, let's have this discussion in this place, or here's links, you write the message, how you want to invite feedback or whatever, and then I can, I mean, I guess I would just probably post it on I'd probably just tag people in the Facebook workforce group. I mean, I think
tags on Facebook should be doable. That makes sense. Yeah. That will get people to look at it.
I mean, yeah, I think I don't know what much else to do.
Yes, in that case, I can do both of those action points.
That'd be amazing.
But having you guys respond to the second and inviting more people to respond, I think would be very useful. I mean, I guess it depends how I phrase it and how it works. But I'll go for both those action points and let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I think it's also just wicked just to see more and more people like stepping forward and bringing stuff to the table really visually. I think it's just a really fun thing to see, rather than just like 1 or 2 people putting most of the posts on the workforce group, for example. Yeah.
Third action agenda bullet point says pay Onker. Why is that in the strategy meeting?
I just wanted to invite anyone else to kind of, I could definitely do that myself, and I'm definitely the best placed person to do it myself. But the reason that I wanted to, Onker Gallery is where we have all of ideas. But I just wanted to invite anyone who might possibly be interested. I thought I'd put it in there, especially if we had more people in the meeting, which we don't. But just to either lead that with my help or just kind of be with me while I do it, just to kind of expand the skill sets that people have.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Cool. So then you just will know, you'll feel much more comfortable by the end of it. The sort of objectives, I guess, of the action would be just being comfortable accessing the online banking, making payments.
Yeah, cool. I'll be happy to set that on. The next point says Paul Levy. Levi. Paul Levy.
Levy, I think, yeah. Together! It's hard doing minutes and having points. Yeah, so in the last meeting, I mentioned I just had a meeting with Paul Levy, this very exciting to me guy with lots of professional experience working with organisations and projects, or bringing people together to do meaningful work effectively. It's nice, I like that. And yeah, so he doesn't sort of advocate things very strongly. He more kind of inspires new, disruptive, really useful questions, I think. So rather than saying, hey, look, let's, you know, I'm really interested in Change the Future, let's get a load of us together and do one of my workshops, he more said, you know, offer to Change the Future, you know, that I'm potentially willing to run a workshop, some kind of a away day, he suggested. Which will really get us to look intimately at our relationship with Change the Future right now, and his work is all based around what he calls a collusion of mediocrity. So he sees every organisation as a degree of mediocrity, like where people accept to participate in something that could be a lot more effective and inspiring, and for us to like really face up to why our shared sort of project is not kind of gleaming and inspiring as it potentially could be. So hopefully by the end of it, people kind of feel more reconnected to why they're involved and how they can do, it can just work better for everyone. So I don't know exactly where we got to in the last meeting, but I guess I didn't feel enough like there were sort of people like, yes, go ahead, but actually maybe they did, and I just need to go back to Paul Levy and just say, yes, people, at least some people are interested. I think that's all he's kind of waiting for me to say. Yes, some people are interested in that happening. I guess it'd be like a half-day thing.
With Paul?
Yeah, with Paul. So he'd be with us, and it would be very facilitated, but it wouldn't be him just talking at people. It's very, very interactive, and I've never...
It just requires everyone actively involved with Change the Future, as many people as possible, to be there and be present.
I think it would need, really want like at least 5 of us, I reckon. Ideally, mostly people with sort of quite a lot of experience in the project, like us guys. If it was us 4 plus, at least 1 or 2 other people, whoever they are, I think that would be great. It would be maybe, don't know, like an afternoon or something I can ask him. But if I just hear from you guys that you're interested in that, I can get something a bit more fleshed out, more of a clear proposal from him. Yeah.
Cool. That sounds great. I like the sound of that. Bound to be useful.
I think
it sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Man, in my experience, I just think.
Hey, I can hear him.
Huh?
From what I hear, my signal's pretty poor at the moment. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about it.
Cool, Joe.
I think it could just be a really refreshing, new way of like reinvigorating our relationship with Change the Future, because I feel like whether or not we intend to, we kind of fall into patterns, ways of being, or expectations of ourselves or other people or whatever. And I think someone like him will very confidently get us to sort of look at with a completely fresh light at sort of how we do things and why. So, yeah.
Useful, important, and just mega positive move.
So there's an action point I'm understanding for me to go back to Paul saying, yes, there is a significant number of us who would like to know more and very interested.
We pay him for his time?
No, he would be free, and I would pay him through doing video production stuff.
Interesting. Okay, so you do a sort of exchange. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
not so good for you, but
yeah, I mean,
out of pocket, but
Change the Future could offer him some money. I just phoned him up and just said, basically, I really like you. I really enjoyed your work you did with us when he mentored Change the Future. Mostly when it was me and Charlie and Alex at Fusebox Amp. That incubation thing like a couple of years ago. And he was one of the experienced business mentors who came in and sort of worked with all of us 10 different projects in that space. He really stood out for me, and Charlie, I think. And so I just rang him up and just said, would you be interested in some kind of exchange? I just saw him post one of his videos online and just thought, I just felt like there was room for improvement on his videos, a lot of room for improvement.
And he saw that there's a lot of room for improvement on Change the Future, no doubt. So
probably, yeah. I think he doesn't know too much about the project apart from what I've sort of described.
I mean, float it, I suppose, but it could be that that's one of the tasks that money from Change the Future comes out for. You know what I mean? We pay Paul to enable Change the Future.
So he would have to be kind of. I feel like Change the Future should probably only pay someone for completing or leading a task if they're recognised as in the workforce. So I don't actually. He might be willing to be recognised as a member of the workforce.
Sure.
I'll offer that. I'll offer that. I feel like
if someone completes a task which has money assigned to it, why do they need to be part of the workforce to get paid? I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just curious as to the reasoning.
I'm not sure. I feel like include. Can we add that to the conversation about how we improve?
Yeah, sure.
You add that to the conversation of yours about initially when you were talking about bringing people together to talk about, was that just prototype, looking at the prototype stuff, or was it sort of more generally about finding a better way to democratically decide on tasks and things together that in your mind right now feels probably like it would be an update to the prototype? Do you have
I feel what I was discussing was about generally, but my action points were just to do with prototype.
okay.
So I'm not sure what you're suggesting it be added to.
I'm just thinking now whether, you know, we should separately or as well as as part of your conversation that you're leading, have like just a look at like a get together where we look at Trello as it's working right now and just look together, are there ways we can improve this? Because we can't create that invitation, I don't think, during this strategy meeting, or we shouldn't rather, because it's just not appropriate. But if there is people who want to get together for an hour just to kind of go, right, so how does everything work in here again? Right, so I propose a task like this. Oh yeah, and then it gets seconded like that. Oh, okay, and then we vote on it this way and get paid like that. Okay.
Actually, it might be a slightly moot point anyway, because how is someone going to know what the tasks are, let alone complete them, if they're not part of the workforce?
Yes.
But I mean, if they do, I feel they should still get paid, because you know if they've found out what a task is and done it without being part of the workforce, so all the more power to them.
I had kind of just stepped away from your question there. I kind of avoided your question when you're talking about that, because I felt like this isn't the time to go into it.
Okay.
And so what I was saying is that maybe create time for that question.
Well, I guess I was just putting a flag up saying we shouldn't definitely not pay people because they're not part of the workforce.
Sure. I think I second it as something worth looking at. But what I was trying to say is, rather than just saying in the future and then never doing it, why don't we actively now create an action point to ensure that conversation is had? I feel like it's an important conversation.
Put it on the agenda for next week's meeting, perhaps.
I feel like it should. I feel like we should encourage more things to happen outside the meeting if they're quite sort of specific technical things.
It does feel like I am ill-equipped and uninterested in this particular point. So if you talked about this right now, I'd basically want to just walk away and do something else.
I think it's so good to create separate. I think as soon as the conversation is uninteresting, unrelevant to most of the people there, that's when it should go off into a separate subgroup and people can flock to it.
Okey-dokey.
So I'm going to create an action point to have a conversation not necessarily limited to updating the prototype, but it's going to be similar to your thing, and it's going to be looking at right now immediately how might we improve Trello to do things like possibly involve paying people who are not in the workforce, but also just maybe hack it better to vote on tasks and things like that while we wait for a better prototype.
So we could potentially put more effort into affecting Trello directly through their Trello board for altering Trello and request features that would be useful to us directly to Trello for them to actually code for us for free. Maybe.
Ask Trello to...
Yeah, I mean, because they use Trello to design their own system and they take votes from the general public.
Yeah.
So we could make a bit of a conscious effort to get involved in that and try and encourage them to create features that would be really useful to us and other people.
Yeah, like feature requests. Send feature requests.
Sorting by votes, perhaps, different types of votes. Let's not go into it now, but...
Yeah. I did put a couple of things on the feature request, but do it more consciously together. So.
Yeah. That could be useful.
Never mind if I move on. Cool. The next point says Charlie Shred away days, which I believe refers to going down to Devon with anyone who wishes to come along, and sort of creating the time, not utterly dissimilar to the thing with Paul Levy, but just creating a space of time, whether it be a weekend or just sort of an evening and then a day, and then we go back, whatever, as much time as we feel necessary to go and discuss and involve ourselves in Change the Future in a space without distractions, I think. Yeah.
For me, this is such a. I feel increasingly passionate about this. I just feel like if we're not careful, some people are going to have a relationship with Change the Future where the moment feeling is one of guilt and just feeling bad about not having done something they said they would try to in a meeting, or just feeling like they haven't contributed very much value to the project. But really, it's not our fault. It's not people's fault. Like, we don't live in a society that is optimized to kind of pay you to do things like this, or really recognize it as valuable, really, in any sort of way. And we're trying to work kind of against the current in that way. So the odds are in many ways against us, and it's difficult for people to find a really effective, nourishing relationship with Change the Future, I think, despite it being inspiring in many ways to us. And I think something we can do, or should definitely experiment with, since it is a project about practical experiments into how we can better cooperate together and self-organise democratically. I think just like paying people is an experiment, this is another thing we can try that I think would be really nice. So we go to Charlie's house, where he's invited us to stay for several days and eat good food and go for walks on the moors and play, and not just work. But we can have a little bit of meetings, a little bit of working group, a little bit of social stuff, a bit of induction and welcome stuff. Everything that
I do feel like we could get more done in a weekend than we could in 6 months. Strategy meetings and stuff.
So much. And that's kind of happened a bit already in the past when it's been less open, but it's felt more. It's a bit like I've got loads of cooking analogies in my head today, I think, so I'm looking at you, but it just feels like kind of getting all the ingredients out the cupboard and setting everything up and preheating the oven, and then your time's over. Yeah. That's too much what that's about, or like spending ages deciding what to cook, and then you crack the egg and go home. Yeah, and I think it would be so nice to carry on and
eggs are fucking messy.
So yeah, I guess action point from me to just follow that up again. I mean, to basically do what I did last time.
I think I'd be very happy to call up upon Charlie. That can be.
Would you be happy to lead that away day organising? So that would involve, I think, something I want to back. Cool. So, did you see last time how I tried doing that I did do it on the workforce group and people voted. I was away at the Escher Centre, but then it all got cancelled or postponed because of Onky Gallery suddenly saying, yes, we'll have your wall of ideas. So we kind of just put it all on the back burner.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're happy to find a way of like working out when everyone's free.
Completely happy. Yeah, I'm happy to just follow that up. And I enjoy making phone calls and talking to human beings.
Nice, man.
And that's quite a clear aim, is just finding a date available for everyone and seeing how many people are available. I could do a bloody, what's it called? Doodle?
Doodle.
Do a doodle page.
I'm gonna, mate, create a proposal in list 1 on Trello.
Okay.
And totally up to you, but if I was you, I'd make like a checklist of kind of organising lifts there, maybe checking with Charlie when he's good and calling popular dates, whatever, and that will help me to put a monetary value on it.
Oh, right.
So then, like, I can put a decent amount of, if I know exactly what it entails, then I can make sure that what you're paid actually represents the amount of time we're taking.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas if it just says, do this task, I don't know.
It's too big.
Yeah. And that'll set such a good precedent.
Okay, so I'll plan the task and execute it to the best of my abilities.
Always remember that we're like setting such a precedent here for a new way of
everyone
doing things forever.
Yeah, good.
That's perfect.
Okay, nice.
That feels nice.
Good. And that is the last totally visible point on the agenda. The others are from Alex that say started videos, which I think refers to whether we need to introduce.
We've done this already.
Yeah, all of this.
And this other one I thought wasn't so great for meetings, so I was wondering what happened to Charlie. I haven't seen him for ages.
He was in the last meeting, actually.
Oh, cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I did in fact read out a point from him. That does make sense. That's part of the reason I removed this, in fact.
Okay, good. Yeah, Charlie's back in Devon, isn't he? Not that he was ever permanently living in Brighton, but he was present in Brighton for quite a long time.
He was probably living in London temporarily.
So not living in London. But I know what you mean. He definitely he's making a big move back to Devon.
I shall go and visit him soon.
Yeah, he lives in Morton Hampstead, and I'll be planning an away day.
Is there anything else we need to broadcast in this meeting?
I don't think so. Much.
Getting into chatting now.
Yeah. Well, I've just finished the 0.79.
Oh, I've only Boxden.
We've heard you.
Oh, yes, but he hasn't.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go on, Joe.
I've only just about worked out how to get you. I've forgetting about 10% of the last 45 minutes. When it puts through the thing. I just turned it on and I was like, the first thing, that's the last agenda item.
No.
I'll go back over it.
How did you fix it?
Cancel the video.
I just went to, I turned to limit your bandwidth, which turned out to be limiting the amount of bandwidth. It works. Let's do that. If anyone's having trouble in the future.
I'm going to minute that.
Yeah, minute.
Happily, you can watch the video on YouTube.
Yay! I'll do that now.
Yep, that'll be 2 hours of fun.
4 in total. It's the Lord of the Rings film, extended edition.
I could summarise if you want, Joe.
Nah, it's gone. I will go through the minutes and when Luke puts them up.
Nice one, man. Well done, and that's a good point.
Yeah.
To include in people who struggle in future. So yeah, just limit your bandwidth. Could be quite useful actually. Just not hopping back between phases all the time. Anyway, we're rambling. I'm gonna stop the broadcast now.
All right. Good night, guys.
Nice one, mate.
Yeah.
Bye, mate.
Bye.
Bye.